in. It's in-game live prime time. Hour number one of our 2-hour extravaganza. Look who's back in town. He graces us with his appearance. Too good for us yesterday. No good for us last week. Left me all by myself there, twiddling my thumbs. Mr. Sharapan. What's going on, Dave? How are you, my friend? I thought, my friend.
Well, I am still your friend. Great to see you. I got summoned to do the later show last night. So I didn't miss you on purpose last night. But sometimes you get tapped on the shoulder and they say go in. So me and Peralta had to do the show last night. I did miss you all of last week. We couldn't do remote guests. Otherwise, you'd have been on the show every night because I heard, I have to get the story directly, but I heard that, you were out doing your thing, officiating basketball. And, there were controversial calls in the Knicks game. All right, Brunson, things happen. The Knicks are in protest. I don't know if there's a protest in the 5th grade basketball game. All right, I don't know. I need to know the story right now. We have to clear the air. Did you eject someone or did you get ejected from the game? That's all I need to know right now before we get to the real games. What the hell happened?
I did. I kicked a 5th grade girl out of a basketball game this week. Or last week. Yeah.
In the world could have happened that you ejected a 5th grader?
Listen, it pains me, right? Last thing I want to do is eject her. I've ejected the head coaches, but not girls, right? Not 5th graders. Right. So she's a little bit of a hothead, right? But okay, that's fine. We're talking about a 9-year-old here, right? 9, 10-year-olds, whatever they are, 5th grade. So she's kind of complaining the whole game, right? And now her team is trailing in the 4th quarter. And, she's spewing not only at me, not like F-bombs or anything, but she's all upset. She's yelling. She's complaining at me, at her players. She's dribbled into 3 people, and then she's crying about why she's getting double-teamed, right? So I tell the coach, I say, Coach, talk to her, please. She's getting a little bit out of control here, Coach. So the dopey coach, he's sitting on his chair. Oh, okay, right? So happens, for another 2 minutes or so, up and down the court, same thing, right? Both sides of the court. I said, Coach, you got to talk to her. She's getting out of control here. So nothing happens, So another minute or so later, another foul on her at the front end of the court when she had the ball. As she goes down to play defense, she barrels into a poor girl, sends her flying. I said, that's it. No. She's done. She's out of here. That's it. And then the dopey coach is like, well, you can't do that. That's not right. I'm like, what? Hello? Are you serious? I've told you twice to control this girl, right? And he's like, his excuse, Dave, was, well, I did talk to her. I'm like, well, obviously it's not working. She's self-destructing. Oh, right? This is not just like complaining. This is, moaning and groaning and just, you know how it is. When a girl loses it or a boy loses it, like you can tell, like Dave, I've been down this road. I told you, I told the coach, I said, listen, I've been down this road. I've been doing it a long time. I know when someone should not be playing and she should not be playing. And if she ends up hurting someone, who's to blame? Me, because I didn't kick her out of the game. And then he actually had the audacity, Dave. The last thing is, he said, well, you really didn't handle this well. I'm like, what? What?
Oh,
I told you twice to talk to her. I didn't handle it. He's lucky he didn't get his ass kicked out.
I was going to say. So I don't know if he knew who he was messing with. You're a television star, and you're on radio and TV all the time talking about stuff.
Podcast.
And he's going to have a discussion with you, right? Like about this. You're also a dad of both a boy and girls and everything. So the fact that you did give her a warning and multiple times to the coach, he shouldn't have been surprised by, you having to. I can't believe you ejected the girl. I would have said, take her out of the game, coach. Otherwise, I have to eject her. But there was nothing you could do, it sounds like, at that point. Did you have paperwork to fill out after the game about all this? Or is this just a quick, all right, it's done. Get to my car. I'm good.
I thought I would have, because I told the commissioner, it's local PAL. I said, listen, I had to throw a girl out of the game. Here's what happened. I explained it all. And he says, oh, I guess you met up with so-and-so, the girl's name and the family. I'm like, so this clearly is not a first time then. Is that your way of telling me this, He's like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And so it was all good.
Okay.
But it's funny,
so
I got the same guy tomorrow. I think I got that same team tomorrow night. So, you know what's weird about it, Davis? Here's the thing with these coaches.
Yep.
So if you play in this league, it's PAL, right? So it's fifth grade, right? So you sub every 3.5 minutes, and then you match up. So the girls pick who they want to guard, right? Mm-hmm. So, and that usually takes about 10 minutes because each girl wants to guard different people. So this coach at the beginning of the game says, don't worry about it. I'm easy. Yeah, let them guard whoever they want. I'm like, okay, that's cool. It makes it nice and quick. That's fine. No, he had this real cavalier, oh, yeah, I'm Mr. Nice Guy. No problems. Don't worry about it. I don't care. Yeah, at the end of the game, he's yelling and screaming. Like, okay, coach, you don't even have a freaking scoreboard. You're not even keeping track of the score, for goodness sakes.
Oh, boy.
So,
well,
I'm more mad at him than I am the girl. Because he really,
Now, can you be biased if you show up tomorrow and it's the same team and the same coach? Can you be unbiased and just go out there? Or are you...
No,
okay.
No, I'm biased. I'm going to foul her out in the first quarter.
Oh.
That's it. She's done. She's done. First quarter. That's it. I've been down this road before. I know. There were two girls. I won't mention any names. There were two girls that were just like this about 4 years ago. I mean, just to the T. Good players around players that aren't as good, so they get frustrated. First they get frustrated with the team, then they get frustrated with not winning, then they get frustrated with the coach, and then they get frustrated with the officials. So by the time it gets to me, the tempers have really just completely lost her cool. And honestly, we joke about it, but the coach has got to take her out of the game. The parents have got to come out of the stands and say, that's it. You're complaining on every single possession, and you're losing it. So I felt bad for the girl. You shouldn't be out there. You're going to hurt somebody, including yourself.
We've had to have that discussion when they were little. We said, you never talk to the official, ever. You never talk to the umpire. You talk to us. And if it gets to be a problem, you're out of the game. It's that simple. I mean, you can't let it sounds like it went from a simmer to a boil, and you can see it going from a simmer to a boil. That's on the coach. I think you did the right thing by warning them. We might need to send a video crew to do your game tomorrow because if that's the matchup, we really should get video of this because I hope it goes well. But it sounds like we don't need any incidents. We don't need any discussions. Let's play the game, coach. Let's get a fair game. And let's go home, please. Come on.
Yeah. Then she had a twin who went into the game. And I'm like, Coach, I kicked her out.
Oh.
She's like, no, that's the twin sister. I'm like,
they tried to do a little switcheroo on you.
Okay. Maybe. But she was calmer. So, crazy. Score's coming up.
Another reason why they wanted the deadline is the number is 7. Those are the tradable first-round picks the New York Knicks have. And that could be something to look out for in the future. Does New York back it up and throw a ton of picks to a team like Dallas, maybe in the future, to get Luka Doncic?
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Over $200 million in the state of New York in sports betting, half of that going to the state. All thumbs up, I guess, across the board here, right?
Yeah, New York just continues to be the standard bearer for the industry. People are betting a ton on NFL. We've still got March Madness coming up. This is really the prime time for the U.S. sports calendar with the NFL playoffs, Super Bowl, and then, college basketball, NBA, NHL in full swing.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
What are you thinking overall, kind of first reaction here? Patrick Mahomes, his legacy.
I don't know how far his drive is. Is his drive to become known as the greatest quarterback of all time? I don't think matching Super Bowls will really do that. I think there'll always be, the Brady people will always say, Listen, it's a different era.
Football Full Circle, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
Well, look at the Heisman Trophy
The early
race
line.
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
You
decisions.
have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live. Prime time.
Yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was
Late
good betting.
Night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on.
There's no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live prime time. Yeah, one more quick little story, then we'll get the referee out of my system, Dave. Right? So I start my first week last week. I got all these extra days. Right? I take all these extra assignments doing 7th, 8th grade girls basketball. Right? Certified New York State official rep. Here I am, Mr. Vegas.
Do you have
So
a patch?
everything
Do you have
goes-
a patch and everything on the
got a
on the
patch?
jersey? Oh, that's big.
Actually,
patch.
no. You know what? They don't. In New York, there's no patch. Got a little
okay.
patch on the back. But no, it's all patchless. All black, with the white stripes. Got to have a black whistle. No different colored whistle. Lanyards, all got to be all black. Socks black. Shoes black. Pants black. Except for the white stripes. That's it.
Perfect.
Yeah. So everything goes well. I must say I'm not quite in the shape I thought I was in, but, I survived. I did all these games. This is the same week I threw the girl out, right? So it's finally Friday. I only got one game, and I'm, so proud of myself. Oh, you know what? I survived 10 games going all these different places, right? So long story short, they give me a 7th, 8th grade girls game. They put the wrong school down as the host school. I go there. No, we don't have a game here. It's a road game. Road game? Yeah, it's a road game. You got to go about 10 miles up the street up to Hempstead. I get back to my car. I'm traveling to Hempstead. I get to Hempstead. I can't find the school because all the idiots that I asked where's the school all said it's on the left. It's on the left. It's on the left. Yeah, it was on the freaking right. All right, so I finally get in the gym and try to get into these middle schools. After school closes. Good luck, right? But I finally get there. I see 2 referees there. They're like, no, this isn't your game. I'm like, what? This is not so-and-so school? Yeah, it is. I got this school. I was just at the school. They said it was here. Blah, 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 blah. Turns out that not only did they have the wrong school, but they had the wrong game for me. It was 2 other teams, I'll just say. Not that I can't name the seasons.
Right.
So it was just like craziness. Then I go back to my car to look at my cell phone. I can't find my cell phone. I'm thinking someone broke into my car and stole my cell phone. Are you kidding me?
No.
What else can happen this week, right? I hid the cell phone underneath the seat. I don't know why. I forgot I did that. It's like, why would they break into my car and take my cell phone and not my wallet? Doesn't make any sense, right? Here I am talking to myself. The clock is ticking. The game is going to start. So I ended up finding out where it is.
Game,
it was a half hour away. I missed half the game.
The other game had to do a solo ref, because you didn't show, so he had to do the game by himself.
For a half a game. I got there about halfway through.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. But the problem was the school I ended up going to actually had a game. If they just said, no, we don't have a game today, then I would have kind of found out where the real game was. But they actually had a game. So I figured, okay, they just made a mistake and said the wrong team was the home team. And then as I'm driving to the real place, it dawned on me, that's why I had to re-accept the game. That was the mistake they made. They didn't make the mistake in the game. They made a mistake on where the game was being played, the venue. They had the venue down from a wrong school.
How long in advance are you leaving?
They charged me $35
for
that. They docked me
What?
$35 for that. I'm like, honey, are you kidding me? That's
you only
not my
worked half
fault.
the game. Scott, you only worked half the game. It's not your fault, but you only worked half the game. But I need to know, how far in advance are you leaving for the game? That you went to the wrong school, and then you went to the wrong school again, and then you got to the right school, like right before halftime. I mean, you must have been out early trying to either beat the traffic or get there and get prepared and stretch and be ready to call this game. I'm impressed, because if you're leaving for the game at maybe a regular time, there's no shot you even make it to your regular game by the fourth quarter. So what time are you leaving? Like 3 hours before game time, you're getting out of there?
No. I will say I left, and that even pains it more. I left on time. The other referee, who I went through training with, said, listen, I'm going to get there a little bit late. I'm going to get there about 20 minutes before the game. You're supposed to get there a half hour before the game. But,
Right.
7th, 8th grade, you really don't have to. But I said, okay, you know what? If you're going to get there a little bit late, I'll make sure I get there 4:15. So it was I don't know how I really did. I could have saved so much time if I would have found my phone on time. If I had my phone with me, see, the first game I did, I thought my phone got stolen. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to bring my wallet and phone into these gyms. I'm just not going to do that. So, but had I brought my phone with me to the very first school, they also send you a text. So I would have looked at the text and I would have seen, Baldwin versus Joe Schmo, whatever the school's name was, and then it would have had the right venue. The text was right. The email I got that I kept on referencing to was wrong.
Gotcha.
So,
okay.
I ran every red light possible, Dave. I mean, it's a minor miracle I didn't get to an accident or a ticket. So.
It's a lock that when you're in a hurry like that, you hit every red light, you drive behind every slow driver. It probably starts raining or snowing right at the time that you need to hurry and zip through. No question in situations like that. But you cashed the ticket, you made it to the place. It's all good. That's good. A weekend. How's your body feel? Are you physically, are you okay?
I need to come up with some Achilles exercises. How do you get your Achilles in shape? That's the right one. Especially. That's, I
mean, you saw what happened in the Super Bowl. Non-contact
what can I
injury.
tell you?
Walking out onto the field. That can happen to anybody. You got to be very careful.
I'm a superior athlete. Think about this. I'm a better athlete than Dre Greenlaw. I mean, listen, I am a superior athlete. Let's face it. But I'm in better shape than Dre Greenlaw. Let's put it that way. But are there some Achilles exercise? You coach, you know. So what do you tell the girls, your softball team, to stretch out the Achilles and get them in better shape?
Yeah, a lot of work against the wall, toe touches and leans and stuff. You got to keep your calves and your Achilles. So it's a reverse thing. I'll send you some videos after the show. We got to get you loose because can't have you going down. I mean, the Super Bowl's over, but this is basketball season. We're going to need you here doing a lot of work, okay? So, I mean, whether you're on the court, off the court, here in the studio, running to the train or running off the train, I can't have you going down. Now, February, a lot of people go on vacation and, football season's done. You're just really diving into basketball and hockey's, in full swing. So I need you ready to go, Wetzel. I can't have you going on the injured list. So yeah, we'll get you some stretches. Maybe Jack has one or two or Matty G in their back pocket. The kids are young. They don't even have to stretch. Guys, I'm telling you now,
Let me ask you a dumb question.
Yep.
I got nice Hoka sneakers, right? That's the big thing. These Hokas are like really thick sneakers, and I wear really thick socks to give me as much cushion as possible. Is it possible I have too much cushion? Is that what's maybe hurting my ankles? Maybe I need to have thinner socks?
Yes. You do. You need the thinner socks. If you have the shoes, you don't need the thick socks. So back in the day when we played the sports, you had socks that were like thermal socks, like they were thick as could be. So you think thick, and then the shoes now. But we were playing in Chuck Taylors. They had paper thin supports. Like that was the the shoes. So until Air Jordans and everything became popular, you needed the sock support with the shoes. Now the shoes have the support. Go thin on the socks. Comfortable, tight, but they got to be tight. Can't be loose because can't have you blistering up. If you blister up, that's it. You can't ref. No, can't do it. No, absolutely not.
Yeah,
maybe a little
Achilles
massage
boy
or something from the wife.
Yeah, that's what I asked the wife.
Rub
I asked the
your feet
wife
or
that. She
something?
did it for like 2 seconds. That was it.
Okay.
Like, thanks, dear. Appreciate that.
Well,
Gives you just enough to know what you're missing out on, right? I'd rather have none. At least I can envision what it would be. It's the Achilles, though. It's the ankles. Yeah.
Oh, good. Good.
Still sore. All right. Bets coming up next.
Another reason why they wanted the deadline is the number is 7. Those are the tradable first-round picks the New York Knicks have. And that could be something to look out for in the future. Does New York back it up and throw a ton of picks to a team like Dallas, maybe in the future, to get Luka Doncic?
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Over $200 million in the state of New York in sports betting, half of that going to the state. All thumbs up, I guess, across the board here, right?
Yeah, New York just continues to be the standard bearer for the industry. People are betting a ton on NFL. We've still got March Madness coming up. This is really the prime time for the U.S. sports calendar with the NFL playoffs, Super Bowl, and then, college basketball, NBA, NHL in full swing.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
What are you thinking overall, kind of first reaction here? Patrick Mahomes, his legacy.
I don't know how far his drive is. Is his drive to become known as the greatest quarterback of all time? I don't think matching Super Bowls will really do that. I think there'll always be, the Brady people will always say, listen, it's a different era.
Football Full Circle, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman
The
Trophy
early
race
line.
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
I have
decisions.
no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the 4th inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was
Late
better.
Night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Did like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting, ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
right, welcome back. In-game live, prime time. Having some fun here on a wild Wednesday. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan until midnight, or until 10 p.m. Eastern time. My bad, till 10 p.m. Eastern time. All right, enough of the riffraff here. Dave, let's hop on the board. I got some interesting NBA scores. We got 3 hockey games tonight. We got one of our favorite whipping boys in action, though, with Winnipeg and San Jose. And decent little slate of college basketball. But NBA, we'll start there just because the Celtics are giving a beatdown to the Brooklyn Nets, who might set a record for fewest points in the first half in NBA history. This is the back end of a home and home, too. You would have thought Brooklyn would have had a little more, giddy up to their system tonight, but so far not the case. They're trailing the Celtics. What is it now? Yikes. 60-29 I have.
Yeah.
Holy fudge.
How about that?
That's nice.
What do you
effort by
make the
Nets
in-game number for that? 30.5, and it's the first half. That's one of those ones that you really got to look hard and go, is there any point where you're going to end up even thinking about taking the Nets? I mean, in an NBA game that closed, let me see, closing number in that game was 11.5, 12 in some places. You go, wow, you're really getting value on 30.5. And then they lose by 40, right? That's a tough spot. I don't know if you want to go there, but we had, thanks, Jack, the lowest scoring first half ever was 22. They got over that number, but my goodness, 29 points with a minute to go in the first half. This is a really strange week, Scott, for the NBA, right?
Yeah.
We got the NBA All-Star break. It's a tough spot for bettors and for books. This was one of those weeks where, in the book, we used to just say, just book the games. Just let it fall where they may, because you don't know who's playing. You don't know who's not. You don't know who's really already got their mindset on either going to Indianapolis or going to Cancun, wherever they're going on vacation. So, yeah, tough board today.
Yeah. We saw that in hockey, right? The All-Star break, the last few games, they had that kind of like semi-break before the real break where we had like 2 or 3 games and like there was no scoring at all. It just seemed like these teams just weren't interested. They were out to lunch. I generally was telling Adam on Game Time Decisions, I generally like betting on the road teams in these spots just because – if you're at home, you have a few more things that you really want to get towards. If you're on the road, well, you're on the road. It's a business trip. Maybe they're a little bit more focused. But, one of the lines that didn't, that did jump out at me, didn't make any sense was Houston laying only 2.5 or so at Memphis. And I saw it drop down to 2 just before they tipped off. I think, this Memphis team, at this point, with all their injuries and everything, it might be the worst team this side of Detroit and San Antonio in the NBA. I don't know what they were doing, basically pick them against a halfway decent Houston Rockets team, but that might be one of those games, Dave, where somebody knows something that someone knows, and lo and behold, Rockets are down 10 or 8 now. Yeah, they're down 10, 24-14 in the first quarter.
Rockets have the biggest disparity between home and road record in the NBA. Really good team at home, really bad team on the road. So any road favorites this week in the NBA is really a tough spot. We saw a couple lose last night, and I saw that number this morning. I think Memphis lost 9 in a row, something like that, as a home dog.
Right.
And I'm sitting there going, that's the one that a lot of people are going to circle on their card and go, oh, Houston, that's an easy one. That's a bunny. That's a layup. They're not going to hurt the Achilles. Hopefully, neither are you. But that's one of those ones that you go, okay, sit back, wait, and watch if you don't play it pregame. Now, the problem, it's a nice 10-point lead. Okay, that's great. But is it too late? Are you comfortable laying points with Memphis in this spot? Because I think the natural inclination will be I'll take Houston as a dog. Tonight, I wouldn't do that, but what would you think? Just play it out. Is it time to take Memphis, or do you kind of just wait for it to get back closer and get a better number?
Yeah. Boy, it's tough laying points with Memphis, right? But you said this Rocket team is so bad on the road. They really are just – I don't get it. They can be so good at home and be so bad on the road. A bunch of young players outside of Dylan Brooks. But 4.5, you know what? I think I might just take Memphis, believe it or not. Knowing that line had written all over it, and it's starting out that way, this just might be, Houston's done. They got the lucky break against the Knicks, and you know what? That's it. Every call's probably going to go against their way. This might be a rare win for the Memphis Grizzlies. So I think I would take the Grizz, lay into 4.5. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
So.
The other game you got to look at is the Bulls. I mean,
right.
Cavs are dogs right now. The Cavs are actually dogs. That game closed, let's see, 9.5, and it's still in the first half. And you're getting Cleveland plus money on a money. Well, it just flipped it. You got to lay 104. But you're laying 104 with a team that was favored by basically 10. You actually catch 1.5. The number's already up to 240.5. Cleveland's been playing as good as anybody in the last couple of weeks. So, there's a play-in game that
I would take the Cavs there. Yeah. Right.
No question.
Yeah.
That's one of those ones. I think I told everybody this week, I told everybody last week, on Media Row while we were out there. You get so focused on one thing, right? We were so focused on the Super Bowl and all the content and what a great job everybody did with SportsGrid. It was a great experience. We're shuffling people in and out and all this other stuff. Kind of forgot about the basketball until I got home. So this week, there's a lot of people catching up. And I said to them, guys, this is one of the hardest weeks of the year for bettors and for books. Be very cautious pregame. In-game PrimeTime, in-game live PrimeTime is a perfect time like for us to talk about it or for people to kind of watch and go, now's the time to jump in. I feel like you have a better feel during the game, especially this week. But like just in NBA betting in general, you've been watching the games, and now you're a highly trained athlete and official. It's harder to make bets pregame, is it not?
Yeah.
On NBA?
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. Especially the NBA. The other sports, not so much, but especially the NBA. Because you don't know, like you said, literally, 10 minutes before tip-off, there have been many games where we find out, okay, LeBron's not playing or AD's not playing or pick a star player. He decides he's not playing. He had no inclination. So you get an awful line. And then, you find out that these guys are playing, but then they really don't want to play. So it's better to, have a team, even if you think's going to win, trail. Like Indiana tonight. Now they only laid 3.5 at Toronto, but Toronto's, they're awful, right? So Toronto does have a 4 or 5 point lead right now. You can grab Indiana and pick them. So now I don't have to worry about the point spread. I'll do that. Cavaliers, I think that's a great bet right now. They're even money. All right, they're down 9 at home, second quarter against Chicago. That's the perfect spot because they're going to make a run. Now I didn't want to lay 9.5. So they're going to make a run, even if they don't win the game, where you grab Cleveland now at even money, when they cut that lead to 2 or 3, and all of a sudden they're back up being a 3-1 favorite. And, now you grab, Chicago on the other side if you want yourself a free bet. So, yeah, I enjoy in-game betting with NBA more than I do before the game.
I think I don't even think it's close for me. I enjoy it exclusively. I don't feel like there's a lot of times there's a need to make a pregame play. And, I don't know who's watching or who's thinking, but I've talked to odds makers and guys in books. They're seeing a little bit of a drop off in pregame NBA betting and an increase in in-game betting because of that. And because of, listen, it's been really a wild couple weeks where like a team like Indiana, my one buddy who's still in the room somewhere said, you can't get this number right. Just when you put it at like 249 or 247 with the total, they have a game where they score 219. You're 30 points off. You don't want to be 30 points off. So now you make an adjustment. It comes down 243, 239, or they're playing a bad team who really doesn't score like Toronto, and you get a closing total of, let's see here, it closed tonight at 245.5 at one place, 247 at another. A lot of volatility pregame, and now you look at this in-game number. When you look at the in-game number, It's back up to 248.5. So it was down to 242, 241.5. You can get a lot of middles, Wetzel, in the totals.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure the boys in Vegas aren't too thrilled with that. You really can get a lot of middles there. So that's the beauty. And even on the money line, you grab Indiana now. Listen, they're down 5. Okay, they'll beat you. It's the second quarter. They were off as a 3.5 point favorite. And I didn't look at the money line, but I'm guessing it was like minus 140 or so, right? 145. Now you get them at plus 145 on the money, 164. So maybe Toronto's making a little bit of a run, but I still think they're the better team. I still like them better than the Raptors. So,
have you been paying attention to the college baskets? You want to talk about a hard game to handicap in a hard game? Teams cannot win on the road. There's a lot of games where the better ranked team or the highly ranked team or the short favorite. Yesterday, you saw North Carolina lose at Syracuse, and Syracuse isn't a good basketball team. Virginia was at home, lost to Pitt at Virginia. It's starting to get to be that time of year, isn't it, where we got to start with these quad one wins and all that other stuff. A couple games tonight. I think we got to keep our eye on for that.
Yeah. You know what we can do tonight, too? When we come back, I want to ask you about the Detroit Mercy tonight. Also, once a week, we got to pick one team for our NCAA win-it-all championship ticket. We'll do that next.
Another reason why they won the deadline is the number is 7. Those are the tradable first-round picks the New York Knicks have. And that could be something to look out for in the future. Does New York back it up and throw a ton of picks to a team like Dallas, maybe in the future, to get Luka Doncic?
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Over $200 million in the state of New York in sports betting, half of that going to the state. All thumbs up, I guess, across the board here, right?
Yeah, New York just continues to be the standard bearer for the industry. People are betting a ton on NFL. We've still got March Madness coming up. This is really the prime time for the U.S. sports calendar with the NFL playoffs, Super Bowl, and then college basketball, NBA, NHL in full swing.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
What are you thinking overall, kind of first reaction here? Patrick Mahomes, his legacy.
I don't know how far his drive is. Is his drive to become known as the greatest quarterback of all time? I don't think matching Super Bowls will really do that. I think there'll always be, the Brady people will always say, listen, it's a different era.
Football Full Circle, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
Well, look at the Heisman Trophy.
The early line.
And what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell,
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
I
decisions.
have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was good
Late
betting.
Night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Patient, did like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
welcome back. It is InGame Live Prime Time. Hour number one, Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan right here on the grid. Checking out some numbers, some college basketball numbers. The subject of our Black Cloud for tonight, which the game is just underway, but that's okay. We can get it in just the same. Ah, yes, little Black Cloud time. All right. In fact, you might be able to get a little bit better number in this game because right now there's 2 points scored the first 2 minutes of the game. Love the Iowa-Maryland over. It was 147 and a half to start the game. It is a big game. Both two disappointing teams. You give me an Iowa over less than 150. I'm usually all over that. Maryland struggled this year. Like I said, both teams have, Dave, but I do think we're going to get some points tonight. 4-letter network game. Should be up and down the court. Like I said, anytime you can get an Iowa game less than 150, I'm usually all over it. So, Black Cloud, let's go over Iowa. Again, you probably get a better number now because it's off to a slow start, but that's okay. But over 147.5 Iowa at Maryland. What do you think?
One of the biggest steam moves of the day for college baskets. It was 143.5 early this morning. Closed 147.5, 148 in places out here. Good luck. That's all I can tell you. Good luck. I've seen the power of the Black Cloud. I'm rooting for you. But
it's 2-0.
A lot of times when a game moves that much, I get worried. I get worried for you.
Yeah. 2-0, 2.5 minutes in. Real good one. How about, I wanted to ask you about this one. This has been the talk of the town. Detroit Mercy. And I've gone against them, a number of times. And cash tickets, I have to admit. So they're 0-26, Dave, right? 0-26. They are horrible. This and Mississippi Valley State, the only two winless teams, I do believe, in college basketball, Division I. And not only were they favorites today, they were favorites by 5.5. I mean, before I gave you the score, and you probably know it, but before we let the audience know, I mean, how do you make an 0-26 team a 5.5-point favorite?
Strictly looking at numbers, not records. It's one of those ones where I'm telling you, I've seen these guys at work. I called them Picassos or Rembrandts, the college basketball odds makers. A lot of them don't really watch a lot of the games. They just stick to their numbers and power ratings and different things. And that's one of those ones where they send you the number and you're like, they're over, right? They haven't won a game all season. That's straight up. That's not against the spread. But haven't won a game. They're more than 2 buckets a favorite. I mean, how bad is Ooey Pooey? P-U-I. That's what we used to call them in the room. Ooey Pooey. They must be really bad, right? That's what you called him on the phone with Louis the Lip. It was quick, Ooey Pooey. Right. There was no confusion, right? But I don't know. Every person in the content space, everybody has this side today. I've never heard Detroit Mercy talked about as much today ever combined than I heard it today. Literally on a bunch of different texts. And, we had people watching the BVB. We do this segment where we say, ask the BVB. And they said, well, we'll explain this line and what would you do? Well, I wouldn't do anything personally, but good luck. You got the favorite. Makes perfect sense. When you see the number like that, you don't know why. You just play the number the way it is. But it didn't work in the Super Bowl. Odds makers made Patrick Mahomes a dog again. When the Chiefs are a dog with Patrick Mahomes, they win. So that's where you got to question sometimes, numbers aren't always right either. That's why they play the games. So I don't know. What's the score? You got the score current right now?
Yeah, they're up 13, 65-52. And they've been leading by like 10, 15 points the whole game. Detroit Mercy. How do you figure, right? It is the classic opposite pick.
Will they storm the court for their first win?
I bet they do, right? I mean, think about it. I was telling this to Adam in Game Time Decisions. Think about the Detroit basketball fan. You got to live through the Detroit Pistons, maybe the worst team in the NBA, and Detroit Mercy winless. I mean, combined. We are in February, and combined, these teams don't have 10 wins. I mean, you talk about embarrassing. But this is the classic this is what, this is where opposite picks was born from. I mean, I know IUPUI. My wife went to that school. It was weird. They have 6 wins. So, believe it or not, figures my wife would go to that school, right? So they only have 6 wins. So they're not great. I mean, who goes to, from New York, who goes to IUPUI, right? They go to Indiana. Right. They don't go there. So they're not great, but still, it's like, it's an Detroit play. You automatically play whoever they're playing. Give me the points. I mean, this is opposite picks, man. It's a classic play. They're going to cover. They're going to win. They're going to cover. They'll probably win by double digits.
What a tough season for Detroit basketball, coming off an NFC championship. All hope about coming out to Vegas for the Super Bowl Lions, with a big lead and blow it. The Red Wings playing pretty good hockey, right? Did you have the Red Wings and Oilers under yesterday? Did I see that right? Was that the Black Cloud of the night?
Yeah.
You did it.
13-1
Why would you
under.
take that game under?
Edmonton 13-1 under their last 14 games. Detroit 6-3 under their last 9. Game went over in the first period. I mean, basically.
I think Edmonton just scored again. I mean, they're not even playing, but I think the final score, was 8-4, right? That was one of those ones that kind of got away from the Red Wings. Okay. Well, listen, it's a new leaf. It's a new night. Do you have a side? Or you have anything else here that we got to get out here right now?
Yeah, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have some fun tonight. Okay. We're going to grab – we're taking where is this team? We're going to grab DePaul, believe it or not.
What?
We're going to take DePaul. Yeah, I know. Right? We're going to take DePaul plus 25. If it's not 25 at your site, buy the hook against number 1 UConn. And then we're going to go over 141.5 DePaul and UConn. Here's the goal. We need DePaul to get 58 points. If they get 58 points, then we're guaranteed a split, because in order for UConn to cover the 25, the game would have to go over 141.5 points. So 58 is our magic number. They're at home. They fired the poor coach a couple weeks ago. They're playing a little bit better. UConn's got a big game this weekend against Marquette. They're not going out to Chicago and playing hardcore defense, right? They'll be up 15, I'm sure, at halftime, and hopefully coast to a nice 85-65 win, and we walk away as a double winner with no sweat. That's the plan. 2 free bets. You don't get this in Vegas often. To me, it's 2 free bets or nothing. We're going to go 2-0 or 1-1. You lose the vig.
The Wetzel system runs deep, and it runs with bad teams. I thought, Cam Stewart likes to dumpster dive. I was not expecting to show up today to see you after not seeing you for 2 weeks, and you tell me you like DePaul. I really didn't see that one. I did not see that one coming. Of all the teams on the card tonight, the college baskets, I thought this would have been one you would have passed over. But leave it up to you. You got system plays for everything. I hope this one, the correlation works. We just got to get the number of points. I don't know if they're going to get that number of points. There's 357 college basketball teams. They're ranked like 352nd of all of them in these offensive categories.
They can't lose by 25 at home, can they? At home? So, maybe on the road. At home?
I don't know. Okay.
This is Chicago. This is not like Topeka, Kansas. I mean, how does DePaul, it's like St. John's. How can't you get a bunch of kids from Chicago that wants to play at home? I don't get that. It's downtown Chicago.
You're old enough to remember when DePaul was really good. Like DePaul was one of those teams, right? It was tremendous. They had they were sending guys to the NBA on the regular. I thought the DePaul Blue Demons that was a really cool place to play basketball. It was really cool. They were very competitive. Just seeing that number, that is by far the biggest number on the road that I can remember in recent history. You only see 24.5 at home, like, in Gonzaga games or something like that, where it was just a big disparity between a really good top 5 team and the rest of the conference. Not a Big East matchup on the road. Nothing about it makes sense. So 24.5, you saw it right there on that nice board. Guys did a great job with that. Good luck, Black Cloud. Good luck.
Bet any hockey tonight. We got no score. By the way, my little no goal in the first 5 minutes system. Remember that one? Did I tell you about that one before the break?
Of course,
the Super Bowl break there.
Super Bowl week. Yeah, how'd it go? No good?
Yeah, not well. Not well.
Derailed? Derailed the whole thing?
Yeah, I haven't given up. I'm going to give it the rest of this week. But basically, I think we're 4 and 14. I mean, it just...
Oh, man.
Yeah,
so as good as it was going, it reversed.
It's going the other way now. Yeah.
Well, that's a lot of
You'd
times.
be surprised how many goals are scored in the first 5 minutes of games. Yeah. We got it. It's all played out this week. See how well it goes. I think we're 2-0 tonight, though. That's about the only good. I think I got to check the Winnipeg, San Jose, figure out when Winnipeg scored. But yeah, it's. You'd be surprised how often teams do score the first 5 minutes of games. That week before the All-Star break, that was like the perfect storm. That was just like everybody didn't care about scoring. So I shouldn't have used that week as the barometer. So, but we'll see.
Well, Winnipeg scored a couple minutes
tonight?
into the game. What's that?
Anything on the board tonight you like? Pittsburgh? Your Penguins down 2-0. I played them, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Put the black cloud on them. Sorry.
Oh, you did? Yeah, that's no good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Starting to run out of racetrack. That's an old school term for just running out of time to make the playoffs. I mean, the Penguins they're a mess. Power play's historically bad. They're getting good goaltending on nights and they can't score. And then the nights they do score, they're giving up more goals than they're scoring. Small dog at home tonight. I saw it. I said, it's Florida or pass. Another under. The Penguins are kind of an autoplay under, but no, I mean, the 3 games tonight, the Sharks price was absurdly high, enough to keep you off of Winnipeg. It's Winnipeg or pass. The night game, I have no idea. The Wild looked great here the other night. Monday night, they played the Knights. And tonight, they're short road favorites. Total's only 5.5. Really start to wonder, when you see these numbers and you go, wow, I can't believe the Wild are actually favored on the road because they were dogs to the Knights. So either the Knights number was way wrong or tonight's number was way wrong. You got an opinion on that game?
I played the Minnesota second half team total, and I took a little flyer on them to win it all. I think they're going to turn it on here. So I do like Minnesota tonight. I think they're going to go on a little bit of a run here. They're too good to be this bad. It's one of those type of situations where you just kind of wait, and maybe this is their time now. So I would grab Minnesota basically pick them on. All right, more coming up.
Another reason why they won the deadline is the number is 7. Those are the tradable first-round picks the New York Knicks have. And that could be something to look out for in the future. Does New York back it up and throw a ton of picks to a team like Dallas, maybe in the future, to get Luka Doncic?
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Over $200 million in the state of New York in sports betting, half of that going to the state. All thumbs up, I guess, across the board here, right?
Yeah, New York just continues to be the standard bearer for the industry. People are betting a ton on NFL. We've still got March Madness coming up. This is really the prime time for the U.S. sports calendar with the NFL playoffs, Super Bowl, and then college basketball, NBA, NHL in full swing.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
What are you thinking overall, kind of first reaction here? Patrick Mahomes, his legacy.
I don't know how far his drive is. Is his drive to become known as the greatest quarterback of all time? I don't think matching Super Bowls will really do that. I think there'll always be, the Brady people will always say, listen, it's a different era.
Football Full Circle, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
Well, look at the Heisman Trophy.
The early line.
And what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell,
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
I
decisions.
have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they do.
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was good
Late
betting.
Night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid.
We
for
did.
patient, didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. In-game live, prime time here, wrapping up hour number one of our 2-hour extravaganza. NBA, generally, the game of the night is like a close, high-scoring, competitive game. And in tonight's case, the eye-opener is just the opposite. Not necessarily low-scoring, but it's a blowout, a big blowout, a big, big, big blowout, Dave. Boston 87, the Brooklyn Nets 48. The Nets are down 39 in the third quarter. You got an in-game number of 36.5. Like, do people go to the window and bet the Nets? In this case, do they actually, say, give me the Celtics laying 36.5, or is it's basically a no bet? People just lay off the game.
No, most of the time, the only way they'll bet this is to lay it with the Celtics. Don't worry about it. Lay 5 touchdowns in a basketball game. 35, 35.5, 36.5. Here we go. They're going to win by 40. They might. This might be one of those nights where, listen, it's All-Star break week. There's only 3 games tomorrow, and the Nets aren't one of them. So sit down, rest the Achilles, rest the knees, put the ice bags on, let the Celtics run them out of the building. This might be that night. It might really be that night. So I think you got to be careful. We're talking always about trying to find a number and try to find the peak. Might have to be 40. We might have to wait to see if we get 40, right? And then we get the fourth quarter silliness and get the cover.
That's amazing. How bad can the Nets be, right? This is the back-to-back. They lost a close game with 8 points yesterday. You would think they'd have a little bit of giddy-up, little fight. Okay, we came close.
Nah.
Let's go down or up to Boston. You got to really, not care to lose a game by 40 points in the third quarter. Yeah,
Right. Right. Yeah.
Wow.
It's where we're at. All-Star break week. You got to be very, very careful. Yeah. Did you look at the dunk contest or anything yet? Did you look at the 3-point shootout?
No, didn't look at any of this stuff yet.
Okay.
I don't even know if have they named the guys yet. We'll figure it out in the break.
made smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Welcome back, InGame Live, PrimeTime, hour number 2 of our 2-hour extravaganza. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan until 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Got a full slate of NBA, decent little slate of college basketball, only 3 hockey games to get into, but plenty enough to put a couple shekels down and hopefully make a few bucks for the boys in Vegas. Saw a little NBA, my beloved Notre Dame fighting Irish. Nice little under tonight, looking pretty good. Closing minute, they are actually they're leading now by 3 over Georgia Tech, 56-53. That was a nice little 132.5 underplay that we had earlier. That's looking halfway decent. Seton Hall, Dave, leading by 11 over Xavier. A little surprise. I mean, I did like the Hall laying 3.5, but I didn't think they would win this easily, but they are 18.5 on that one. I'm looking for the Detroit Mercy here score. How about Auburn and South Carolina? That was a little buzz. South Carolina ranked, Auburn ranked, and South Carolina was getting 11.5. Big fat number, yet lo and behold, here we go. Auburn leading by 13 midway through the first half. It's up to 18.5 now. So we've seen some crazy lines today, and so far the boys in Vegas have been right.
Yeah, so far. We'll see. Again, that one was interesting. We talked about that. Me and Matt talked about it this morning. South Carolina is 9-1 on the road, ATS, and they're getting 11.5, 12 overnight. So when you see that and you go, wait a second, why is that so high? A lot of times it's something there that you don't see. So put a pause on that one. We'll keep an eye on it. I mean, it might be able to in-game grab 20. They're not going to lose by more than 20. So you get if it goes up a little and it gets over that number, that might be the buy point for that. I haven't seen you since, I don't know if you heard. Did you hear that I guess it's ESPN Bet is coming to New York? Did you hear all that stuff and how things are happening there? Did you hear about that?
No.
Yeah.
I read a couple weeks ago about ESPN Bet, yes, but I didn't know they were coming to New York and when and where it's going to happen.
Big industry news. It was a lot of guys that I know. I mean, it impacts them here because they're with WinBet, but WinBet sold the license. So you're going to get another out up in New York. You're going to have another option to see bets and see different booths and all that other stuff. I don't know where all this space is going. But the handle was up for the Super Bowl, and you got the biggest tax rate in the country in New York. I don't know as an operator, it's a tough spot because I know guys that have made decisions to stay out of there. But, yeah, ESPN went and got that license. So while some books are pulling out of the business and pulling out of the state, welcome to New York, ESPN Bet. And wait till they get a load of the Black Cloud plays and all the Wetzel special, systems and all this other stuff. Just what you need is another out to look at. Is that a good thing for you as a consumer there? Is it too much?
It's okay. Listen, more the merrier. Why not? Right? Black Cloud and Company have run many out of the business. We'll have our best shot at running ESPN Bet out of the business. Right? I mean, it is a crazy number here in New York. 55%. I've talked about this before. I don't know how these. Well, I do know how these books do it. Take a look at some of the VIGs. We talked about this in one of the shows last week. The VIGs now, Dave, you're old school, right? Like me. VIGs used to be 10%. Pick any kind of game. Bruins minus 150, and if they're playing Florida, you got the Florida plus 140, maybe 130 if it's a big number. Same thing in baseball, right? Yes. Red Sox minus 140, Yankees plus 130, then there's your 10% VIG. Now, you can't find a 10%. Now it's like 20 to 30 points, Dave. It's crazy. It's like, this is criminal. I mean, what are we doing here? But when you find out, at least here in New York, they pay 55% of the gross, not the profit even. They have to pay New York. The cost of doing business here in the Empire State is 55% of their gross. how can they make any money? I'm not surprised to see some of these companies say, forget that. You know what? It's not worth it. But
very expensive. And the license costs $25 million right off the top. So it costs $25 million to get the license to show up, and then you pay it's a sliding scale, but I think it's 51% with the mobile, which the majority of the business in New York is mobile. It's still a lot of retail here, brick and mortar, people betting at the counter in the casino. I mean, there were lines and there were tons of people here and books throughout the week in Vegas. Big events still resonate here. And, we're headed toward March Madness, which, again, that's one of the biggest events. 4 days of Super Bowl type handle in a row, at least the first weekend. So, yeah, that's good. That's just what you need. I can't wait for you to find something that they offer as a unique product with actually fair pricing so we can talk about it on the show. And I go, wow, I didn't even know they did that, because it's not a limited offering out here, but the menus are starting to expand here because they're taking the software, from back east. So they're expanding the menus, but nothing like what you guys see in New York and New Jersey.
Let me ask you real quickly here. I saw where the handle they said in Vegas was close to $190 million, 187.6 or whatever. So we'll just say $190 million. And they said their profit was like $6.8 million. And, I always scoff at some of these numbers, Dave. I mean, I understand a lot of that is head-to-head, so you have to have a winner. Half the people bet in San Fran, half the people bet in Kansas City. Someone's got to win. But, I mean, what other business generates, close to $200 million, yet only makes $6 million? I mean, I just don't believe those numbers. And why would they lie about that, Scott? Because I don't think they want to pronounce to the world, hey, we made $50 million on a Super Bowl. Nobody wins. We're cashing in. I think they want to keep those numbers as low as possible. Let people know, you know what? You got a shot at winning here. You can't generate $200 million and only make $6. That's impossible.
Listen to me. You're lucky you make $6 on a game like that where 70% of the bets were on the Chiefs, including a plus money line. Every teaser won, all 4 ways. Up, down, over, under, all 4-way teasers won. The total middled in a lot of spots. Open 47.5, closed 46.5. It wasn't a good day for the books, but all that future money in Nevada was good. But there were a lot of 6-figure, 7-figure bets on the Niners. And listen, it's a small margin business. I've been in the books for 25 years. You're lucky to make 8 to 10% maximum. That's why volume is key. You have to keep getting customers. You have to keep people in the game. You're just trading money back and forth. On the books, Ed, you get to keep 10% most of the time. So it's a tough business, Scott. It's a tough business. Nobody's lying about the numbers.
All right, I guess. Back to our numbers when we come back.
Another reason why they wanted the deadline is the number is 7. Those are the tradable first-round picks the New York Knicks have. And that could be something to look out for in the future. Does New York back it up and throw a ton of picks to a team like Dallas, maybe in the future, to get Luka Doncic?
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Over $200 million in the state of New York in sports betting, half of that going to the state. All thumbs up, I guess, across the board here, right?
Yeah, New York just continues to be the standard bearer for the industry. People are betting a ton on NFL. We've still got March Madness coming up. This is really the prime time for the U.S. sports calendar with the NFL playoffs, Super Bowl, and then, college basketball, NBA, NHL in full swing.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
What are you thinking overall, kind of first reaction here? Patrick Mahomes, his legacy.
I don't know how far his drive is. Is his drive to become known as the greatest quarterback of all time? I don't think matching Super Bowls will really do that. I think there'll always be, the Brady people will always say, listen, it's a different era.
Football Full Circle, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
Well, look at the Heisman Trophy.
The early line.
And what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell,
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
I have
decisions.
no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was good
late
betting.
night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting, ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, it's InGame Live, prime time here on a Wednesday evening. Just talking a little bit about the Super Bowl to handle and how many people bet and what bets they made and everything else. It's interesting. We thought we saw the kind of the end of the Super Bowl stuff, but a little bit of a hangover today as the San Francisco 49ers, I'll say surprisingly, just because I watched their press conference yesterday with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, and Shanahan was asked specifically, do you expect, all your coaches to be back? And he said, yeah, I think so. And then, they got into Steve Wilks a little bit. So lo and behold, 24 hours later, I guess there was a change of heart because Wilks got fired today as defensive coordinator of San Francisco. Boy, you talk about a rough couple of days this poor guy has had. So that's the talk of the NFL today, in addition to obviously the tragedy what happened in Kansas City, which is just mind-bogglingly sad and stupid it is. But Davis Maddock on Coast to Coast talking about Wilks getting fired today.
I mean, the 49ers defense was pretty much keeping them in it. The offense only scored 10 points, only ended up scoring 19 points in regulation, 22 points overall. That was lower than their season average. 19 points is right in line with what the Chiefs defense was allowing to opposing teams. So it really was their defense that was doing it. So often you end up finding out 10 years down the line, this guy was pretty good at his job. Why is it that the organization moved on from him? These guys didn't really like each other. Steve Wilks and Kyle Shanahan probably were just not a good personality fit. Why in the middle of the season did Sean McDermott, when the Bills offense, I mean, sure, the wins and losses weren't great, but the Bills offense was fine. And it wasn't the best offense in the world, but it was fine. Josh Allen was playing well. Why'd you fire Ken Dorsey? He just doesn't really like Ken Dorsey, man, which is okay. Like, that is well within your right if you're the coach.
All right, so I guess he's suggesting that they didn't like Steve Wilks, that they butted heads. I don't know. Maybe. But like I said, just watching the press conference yesterday, Dave, if you take it out, right around the 10, 12-minute mark, he was asked, and he's like, yeah, I expect all my guys to be back. And John Lynch, who's the GM, I don't know who would really make the call on that, the head coach or the GM, but when he said that, Lynch didn't flinch or just give you a little weird eyes, like, what's he talking about? He's like, they all seem like they were on board on everybody coming back, but clearly there was some issues in San Francisco.
Oh, yeah. I love these armchair quarterbacks that, in the media and different things. You have no idea what's going on in that building. He gave up one touchdown, right? in regulation and 3 field goals and then an overtime touchdown to lose the game in the Super Bowl. The defense was pretty good all season. They're the favorite to win it next year. Good luck. There's certain situations where you go, all right, maybe it's not him, maybe it's something else. I don't know. I have no idea. It's way above my pay grade. That's why I like talking about the numbers and the games and the different things like that. I don't want to call for anybody's job. No idea. No idea what went on there. Timing of it, very interesting, right? It's Wednesday, right after.
Yeah.
Must have been a problem going in, right? There must have been something happening. I don't know.
We're finding out a little bit about this San Francisco organization. We all want to say that Shanahan's an offensive genius and this and that. And, now you got a head coach that, maybe he knew about the overtime rules, but he wasn't smart enough to tell his players. Now we got a player, Nick Bosa, coming out saying we weren't prepared to have Patrick Mahomes scramble or do a read option. I'm like, what? My 5-year-old dog knows that the Kansas City does a read option and Pat Mahomes can scramble. How do you sit there and tell the world you weren't prepared for that? So we're starting to see some cracks in the armor in that San Francisco organization. So, you said it, David. There had to be something going on before the game. It couldn't have been just this performance. It just couldn't have been.
Do you think that might have been a factor in the decision to take the ball in overtime? Because a lot of the the second guessers and the wannabe wise guys and all the math guys say you can't possibly take the ball in overtime with the new overtime rules, despite the fact that the Chiefs went right down the field at the end of the game to tie it. And they might have been gassed. That's probably why, I would think San Francisco took the ball first, other than a lot of times if you take the ball first and you go down and score, now, yeah, you give Mahomes 4 downs because they have to go for it. But do you think that might have been a factor in all of this? There might have been a dispute. We'll take the ball. We'll put you on defense. Well, no, I don't believe in the defense. Could have been a factor in there, right? But nobody's saying.
Yeah.
At least that's not getting out. But you're right about the post-game conference or the post-game discussions and comments coming out. Somebody's got to take the fall, right? That's part of the problem in this, and it's just like, all right, well, Wilkes is out. He's only been here a year. I don't know.
Yeah. One real quickly, too. I was watching that thing, the press conference, and, one of the reasons said that they took the ball was because they said their defense was tired. And I'm thinking to myself, no, wait a minute. Didn't you just have the ball? What do you mean you were tired? You did give the ball to Kansas City with less than 2 minutes left. Yes, they did run 11 plays, but I counted them up, Dave. There were 6 timeouts, whether incompletions or running the ball out of bounds or actual timeouts. There were 6 in that 11-play sequence in which took less than 2 minutes. It's not like, Kansas City had the ball on this 11-play, 8.5-minute drive, and it was 3 yards in a cloud of dust, and his defense was getting pounded, and they needed a break. No. It was a less than 2-minute drive. There were plenty of breaks in there. Plus, you had to have Kansas City kick off, and then your team had to go out there and take a knee. Then you had the 5-minute interruption between the regulation and overtime. Then you had to have 5 minutes to have the coin toss to see who was getting the ball first. There's no reason to have your defense be tired at that point. They had a good 10 to 15-minute break from the time they got off that field when Kansas City tied the game to the time they got back on the field if they would have deferred. So little goofy things like that, there's something going on in that organization. It's not, to say your defense was tired, well, if it was tired, then you weren't going to win no matter what, whether you took the ball or deferred.
Nobody said it. That's I would have understood it if he just said it. We just had Mahomes go down a 2-minute drill and score, kick the field goal. So we wanted the ball first. Okay. I don't know if you could agree or disagree. I mean, you either or, but no one said that after the game. They said we wanted to have the choice to win the game if we had the ball third. All right. We'll see. I don't know. Football's done. Let's move on. Basketball.
Yeah.
That's we got things to worry about. Your Detroit Mercy got there. You see the final?
No. What was it?
They won by 15.
Wow. 15. You know what you got to do? We got to bet the Pistons tonight, and we got to look up and see when does Mississippi Valley State play. Frank, look that up, or Jack, look that up real quickly, because Mississippi Valley State's 0-22 or 0-24 as well. This might be that weekday where everything kind of comes into play. Can San Jose make a comeback tonight over Winnipeg? We got Detroit Mercy winning. Maybe we'll get the Pistons to win on the road tonight. Yeah, this might be like a little goofy, this is where all the stars align for all these upsets to occur.
Yeah,
Mississippi Valley plays Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
Who do they play? Do you know? Not that it matters.
There you go.
Alabama A&M. There you go. They'll be an underdog, obviously. This is open parlays. We'll make an open parlay. Detroit Mercy, Mississippi Valley State.
There's no software that does open parlays, Wetzel. Don't even say it. That reminds me of back in the day. It's an old school thing that some new school place should institute. There should be a way to do the open parlay. That would be outstanding.
Oh, they could do it if they wanted to. Right? They could do it if they wanted to. They could definitely do it if they wanted to. Celtics, 50.5 now over the Nets. Wow.
Another reason why they wanted the deadline is the number is 7. Those are the tradable first-round picks the New York Knicks have. And that could be something to look out for in the future. Does New York back it up and throw a ton of picks to a team like Dallas, maybe in the future, to get Luka Doncic?
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Over $200 million in the state of New York in sports betting, half of that going to the state. All thumbs up, I guess, across the board here, right?
Yeah, New York just continues to be the standard bearer for the industry. People are betting a ton on NFL. We've still got March Madness coming up. This is really the prime time for the U.S. sports calendar with the NFL playoffs, Super Bowl, and then, college basketball, NBA, NHL in full swing.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
What are you thinking overall, kind of first reaction here? Patrick Mahomes, his legacy.
I don't know how far his drive is. Is his drive to become known as the greatest quarterback of all time? I don't think matching Super Bowls will really do that. I think there'll always be, the Brady people will always say, listen, it's a different era.
Football Full Circle, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
Well, look at the Heisman Trophy.
The early line.
And what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell, coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time decisions.
I have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
InGame Live.
Just
Prime Time.
Yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was
late
better.
night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting, ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
welcome back. In-game live prime time here on a Wednesday evening, having some fun, making some money in the process. Sometimes, the picks are obvious and we really concentrate on the games. Other times there's subtleties. And we like to have a little fun, even though if that rankles a few feathers around here. So, point being, we've given out a couple of winners here in the process of winning anyway, including the Cleveland Cavaliers. Dave, down, about 20 minutes or so. Could have grabbed Cleveland at even money, right? We said go ahead and do that. Look at the Cavaliers. They're back now leading, or at least tied with the Chicago Bulls. And, down 84-83. But point being, you now grab the Bulls. If you grabbed Cleveland a little while ago at even odds, now you grab the Bulls at plus 190, 2-1. And boom, you got yourself a free bet, or you can even lock in a guaranteed winner, depending on how much you bet on Cleveland and how much you want to bet on Chicago. So a little cha-ching on that one. And then how about that Celtics Brooklyn Nets? I keep on wanting to call them New Jersey Nets, but Brooklyn Nets game. 50. Yeah. We saw 50.5 a moment ago. It's down a little bit now, right?
Well, no, it went back up to 53.5 in the break. This is one of those ones there's no algorithm for. This is one of those ones you manually have to take over when you're doing the game in game, trying to find a number where someone will willingly give you American money or shekels and say, yes, please give me the Brooklyn Nets plus 53.5. Now, we were talking about it during the break, and Jack did a great job finding it. There was a game where the Oklahoma City Thunder lost to the Memphis Grizzlies. I believe it was 2 years ago. 123-79, or 153-79. So 55.5 looked like a great bet there. It really did.
Yeah.
Right? And then you end up losing by 79 points. What in the world?
Wow.
I remember we were working that night, and we kept going, how high could this go? How high can you make this number? I mean, this one can't get much more than 55.5. I think that's the speed limit is 55 in places. I mean, it's now going up all over the country, and in rural areas it's 75, 65. 55.5, Wetzel. You see 55.5 in the next couple minutes, I think that's the buy point. You can say you had the Brooklyn Nets plus 55.5 against the Celtics. I think that gets you to the window.
This might be one of those rare games that no matter what bet you made on Boston, you're going to win. I feel for the poor sap, Dave, because, I'm sure there's one guy out there, right? There has to be at least one that is betting Nets. I'm going to get this sucker. Nets. I'm going to double down Nets and net. Yeah. And just keep on pushing that envelope before it falls off the table. And the poor guy's going to go 0 for 10 on his bets. I feel bad for that. So I hope there's at least one number that we can say, all right, the Nets covered that one. But so far, it's not there.
It's like a craps table, right? When you play the basic system, you play the pass line, and you put a come bet out there, and it goes to a number. And then you put the comeback bet out there, and it goes to another number. And you don't hit the 7, but it keeps spreading you thin, and you get all these chips on the table, right? Like, I didn't get a chance to teach the boys craps. The next trip out, or my trip back east, we'll go play craps. That's so much fun. It is. There's nothing more electric in a casino than a craps table full of a group of people that you know, and you start to get hot. But after 2 come bets and odds and everything, that's when you stop. I say the same thing about the in-game. You could chase the Nets plus 20. You like them at 20. You have to love them at plus 35. You go back in and you get another one. But you don't keep going. At some point, you go, you know what? 7 out. Go like this with your hands. There's nothing in my hands. There may be nothing in my account after this. Chasing it and taking 38, 42, 45. You're left with wondering, what did I do? I just emptied the account on the Brooklyn Nets, chasing a number, and I got smoked. So usually 2 bets, maybe 3, and that's enough.
Yeah. I usually do 2. I'll do, if I bet originally, I'll bet it originally. Then I'll bet it, if I'm getting, let's just say 5. I see you go to like 10 or 13. Like if I get 5 or 6 more points, then I'll say, okay. and then maybe one more time I might triple down, like I said, between 2 and 3 bets, and then that is it. That I have enough wherewithal to just say that it's not happening. It's a losing bet. Just write it off.
Right.
I'm not going to try and double down. So because you get too many performances like this, 132-81. Wow. 49 points. Raptors still leading Toronto. Or Raptors still leading Indiana. 111-109, 8.5 minutes left. That's giving up a fight. Cavs are up now 1 against Chicago. Like that one. Rockets are the other one that we really kind of looked at a little bit, right? They're still down 10 against Memphis, 65-55. They're getting 7.5 now. Yeah. I think that was just a good, bad line, if you will. Good because it worked its way out. Bad because it had written all over it. And I just don't think the Rockets are ready to play tonight.
We got a couple of late games tonight out west that haven't started. There's the live slate right there. Sacramento and Denver. That looked like a really promising game pregame.
Yeah.
And Denver's out to a little bit of an early lead. It's minus 8.5 right now. What does that say? 216.5. Can you take Sacramento seriously? Like, I'm talking not just tonight, but they had that game against the Suns last night the whole way. And me and Peralt were on, and Tommy was producing, and Tommy had the Kings, and he kept saying every break, like, boy, I hope they hold on. Boy, I hope they hold on. They were leading the whole game. Then in the fourth quarter, Suns took over. I mean, the Suns really took over the game. And Sacramento, again, just failed to get it done in crunch time. I feel like they have so much talent, but they're learning on the job, Do you consider them a threat in the West?
Not wholeheartedly, but I do like the team. After making fun of them after all these years, calling them the Queens and everything, but they're a talented team. A lot of times you say, well, they need like one more player. Listen, you can always use one more player, but I don't think they need. I just think they need to get just a little bit more experience, just little more older. The guys used to playing in crunch time, realizing what it takes to win the postseason and everything else, and just to get over the hump there a little bit. But I like the club, but I think in the end, will they be there, NBA Finals wise or even Western Conference Finals? Probably not. I'd probably go with, the two Cinderella teams, right? OKC, Sacramento in the West. If you're going to pick one, I like Sacramento, like from a rooting interest a little bit more, but I think maybe OKC might be a little bit prepared to make that, run. With the one, you need one superstar player, and they might have it with Gilchrist. So, because I'm not sure with Sacramento.
Funny, the buzz around the books and around a lot of guys that I know that, in respect to their opinion, is that it's going to be Denver and the Clippers. That's the final in the West. And Minnesota's just sitting there and just winning games. They just keep winning games. How about the T-Wolves? Right, they're winning games. They're covering. They've been a good bet on all season. No respect at all. At all.
Yeah.
You got them anywhere on the board where you like maybe win a playoff series or two to get to the Western Conference Finals, or no, you're not buying them?
No, listen, I've had them for the last 3 years. I keep on buying in. This is the 1 year I'm like kind of done with them, and this might be the 1 year they actually do it, right?
Good to know.
I mean, how good is the Western Conference playoffs, Dave, going to be? I mean, when you really, in the East, you got the Celtics, you got the Bucks, maybe the Sixers if Embiid comes back. I'm sure the Knicks will put up a nice little fight in the postseason. I don't think anybody takes Cleveland seriously. And that's really about it. But in the West, I mean, you have the three, really. I said two, but really it is three. It's three Cinderella teams in Sacramento, Minnesota, OKC, right? Then you got Phoenix, then you got the Clippers, and then, oh, by the way, you got the defending champs, not to mention Golden State with Steph and LeBron with the Lakers, who might not be championship caliber anymore, but those are going to be great series in the NBA.
Gauntlet.
I just hope the NBA doesn't screw it up.
The Western Conference is going to be a gauntlet. There's not going to be an easy series. Usually on the path, the Celtics are going to get who in the East in the first round? That's going to be a layup. But the West is tough. Right. Minnesota's going to be there. They're going to challenge teams, extend series. OKC, at least in the home games, are going to be a tough out. I think legitimately, I don't want to say it's wide open, but it's fair in the West. Like, it wouldn't surprise me to see the Clippers get there, the Suns get there, to dethrone Denver, who them getting there is a viable option. But the East, you're not buying the Knicks because I got guys that I know. I had to listen to some Knicks fans, even some people. I see the face. You're not buying the Knicks at all, huh? I can't make a case.
No.
Second best team in the East? No.
Second best of 7 series. I got to see them guard Giannis, so I don't think so. I think they'll put up a fight, and think it'd be fun, but kind of like the old days against the Bulls, they'll find a way to come up short. Yeah, I don't think they're that good. So I will say the one good thing also about the West, which will make it like a lot of those teams play good basketball. Yeah, you do have Phoenix that wants to score 140 points a game, but Minnesota plays good defense. OKC can play good defense. Yeah. The Clippers, I really do believe, come playoff time, will be a 110 scoring team, not a 130 scoring team. So it should be a lot of fun and be very, very competitive. All right, Cam Stewart coming up next.
Another reason why they wanted the deadline is the number is 7. Those are the tradable first-round picks the New York Knicks have. And that could be something to look out for in the future. Does New York back it up and throw a ton of picks to a team like Dallas, maybe in the future, to get Luka Doncic?
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Over $200 million in the state of New York in sports betting, half of that going to the state. All thumbs up, I guess, across the board here, right?
Yeah, New York just continues to be the standard bearer for the industry. People are betting a ton on NFL. We've still got March Madness coming up. This is really the prime time for the U.S. sports calendar with the NFL playoffs, Super Bowl, and then, college basketball, NBA, NHL in full swing.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
What are you thinking overall, kind of first reaction here? Patrick Mahomes, his legacy.
I don't know how far his drive is. Is his drive to become known as the greatest quarterback of all time? I don't think matching Super Bowls will really do that. I think there'll always be, the Brady people will always say, listen, it's a different era.
Football Full Circle, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
Well, look at the Heisman Trophy.
The early line.
And what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news. Trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell,
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
You
decisions.
have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the 4th inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was good
late
betting.
night.
We waited for the 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting, ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
welcome back. InGame Live, prime time here. Hour number 2, having some fun. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan until 10 p.m. Eastern time when Gabe and Cam take over. Joining us now, Mr. Cam Stewart, who was with me last night having a whole bunch of fun. What's going on, Cam? How are you tonight, bud?
Yeah, Scott, you did great. I was just hoping that parlay, always one problem with the parlay, right?
Yeah.
One leg will get you. That's the old parlay, 4 to 5, 3 to 4, 5 out of 6. Been there. That's why, here where we have like a provincial lottery sports ticket, and it used to be just parlays. The government literally sits there like Mr. Burns. Excellent. Then they finally went to single game wagering. You know what I mean? Like they were basically, it was like a fleece job. But hey, great stuff last night, Wetzel. We did really, really well on the ice. Dave, nice to see you back. Wednesday, we got Brady Cannon up on our show. It's golf day. Great tournament this week. Tigers back. 70 guys at the Genesis Classic course. This is going to be a real, real nice weekend for golf after the Waste Management, right? Dave, they almost torched that place. We're going from the Waste Management basically being an all-inclusive where they're serving people quadruple vodkas to like now like an Arnold Palmer's kind of like the difference between this crowd at Torrey Pines and the Waste Management. It's literally like a keg party to like a seniors cribbage game.
Yeah, it's a big difference. Two things. I used to do the numbers for that Canadian lottery system. So I used to do the hockey and the basketball.
You were Sharapan for Proline.
Yeah,
dude.
So we used to send those every day. That was part of my job.
Listen to this one, Scott.
But they used to change the spread, Cam. I used to send them like reasonable, and they used to bleed you guys a little bit when I would see the actual results. I was like, you guys aren't even giving them a shot. They got to do 4 games, or I think it was a minimum of 3.
Yeah, it was 3. Yeah.
That was a tough spot for you guys.
I got to be honest with you. As your lawyer and representative at SportsGrid, you are so correct. And know what the best is? Scott, say the Leafs are minus 150. They'd put it to minus 190. People are still betting it. If the Raptors were plus 5.5, 8.5. Yeah, let's just not even add 1 point. Let's add 3. Oh, got to take the hometown team. People are just, I go, if you're a serious gambler and you're playing on that stuff, that's nuts. Talk with the guy at the bar, and he's just an old retired guy, and he does his $5 and $10 tickets. And he's a really smart guy. He goes, you know what, Cam? I know I'm getting fleeced, but I do this for fun. I like betting on like Southern Illinois and Pepperdine. Like he just has fun with the games and tries to put little parlays together and stuff. That's how you attack that. But Dave, if you do like $100, like $500 on that system, you might as well like go see Johnny Knuckles. Like get a loan from a loan shark. It's a disaster.
You had to do that. That's for sure. When I saw the finished product, I was like, those aren't my numbers. And they're like, no, we adjust them.
They're like, making you look bad, eh, Dave? You're lying to me.
You're squeezing them. That's what you're doing. And then
they do squeeze.
On the other topic, you mentioned the Phoenix Open, the Waste Management Open.
Yeah.
I used to live on the course, walk to the course, and went every year. That I went before there was a grandstand on the 16th. I mean, it was a fun, wild event. But it did get out of control, and now they're going to have to change the way they let people in. We had Taylor on the show on Monday. She said she had friends that went, and they didn't check tickets. It got to the point there were so many people there, they just let people in. So
Scott,
that's going to change.
These frat boys are jumping VIP parties. There's no security. I'm going to take your Grey Goose. I'm going to do this. It was like basically like looting during like fire bombs on the street and stuff. It got crazy. And here's another thing. These frat boy jerks, all these guys from these schools, they were like coming up to seniors and can't the old guy go there for a couple beers and like watch golf? That's the whole problem. I don't mind fun. Hell, I hosted keg parties. You should have seen. It was like Animal House when the Blue Jays won their first World Series. I had 600 people in my backyard, and my house got destroyed, and I had to go like fix it all because thank God I knew a guy. And my mom and dad are like, it's okay. The Blue Jays won. They weren't even that mad. But I'm going to tell you this, like that golf tournament, you can't treat people like that. Like, honest to God, and I love drinking. You know, you see me, Dave. I party. I'm a big friendly bear. I get on the dance floor. I want to hug it out with the guy with the Wisconsin windbreaker. But you can't be serving triple vodkas at 6 o'clock in the morning. And these guys are gassed all day, like they're flammable. Wetzel. Like I literally have a lighter. These guys are done. There is so much alcohol there. It's just like it's. You know what it is? It's fun, but they've taken it too far, and they got to kind of rein it back. And I just don't like the way a lot of older people that I've talked to in like the golf business said the older guys, like anybody over like 45, 50 got treated like crap by those because those young guys were in packs.
Well, get everybody out of it with
All
these
right,
Genesis
Tiger Woods
picks.
in the field.
Yep.
Oh,
Good. Okay.
go ahead. Yeah, get these Genesis picks out
No,
there.
I was going to say, yeah. And Tiger Woods is in the field this weekend. Someone told me, Cam, I have not seen it on FanDuel and another site I look at, that he was pick 'em to make the cut. And I think you said it there. If 50 guys make the cut out of 70, I mean, how's he not making the cut? So I don't know if you've seen that bet out there. Is that really the case? But ultimately, how well do you think Tiger will do, and who do you have winning the thing?
It's been bet up, so I'm seeing more like 25, 30 cents, but it did open that way. Great point, Scott.
Really?
50 guys in a 165 field event? Sure. You know what I mean? Like, I'll fade Tiger Woods. I looked at him today, though, just from the eye test. He looks really beaten down. Just his face, but apparently his body's really good. So you're getting contrasting reports. The good news is, for the pro column for Tiger Woods, it's not a very long course. 7,300 yards, par 71. With Tiger's ankle, knee problems, like if that thing's a 7,800 yard giant, those are the type of courses, Scott, as he plays, he will progressively get worse, especially if there's undulations on the course. Like if it's like got crazy hills and stuff. That's really hard because his body's being held back with like nuts and bolts. Will he make the cut this week? I'm not betting it, but I did a show with Carver and he hit Nick Taylor first round leader last week at 90-1 and live at 18 during Scotty Scheffler's run. So he had a really big week. All my top 20 guys came in, but I didn't have the winner. But I'm going to tell you, he has Tiger for a top 30 at plus 190. I'm not doing it, but it's not a bad bet. Like the problem is, Scott, there's so many things we don't know, right, Dave? Like, what has he done? Like, what shots can he hit? What can he hit? But I will say this is a course he's very familiar with, California guy, even though living in Florida, Stanford, he's played all these courses probably 500 times. So he knows every nook and cranny. I'm not betting him, but I just because there's volatility. I don't know, like, he hasn't played forever. He hasn't played competitive golf in a long time.
But if 50 guys are making a cut, but Cam, if 50 guys out of 70 are making the cut, I mean, he would have to be just god awful, right?
Yes.
I mean,
well, the thing
you get
is,
2/3 of the field, more than 2/3 of the field, at even odds.
Scott, I don't want to do this. Don't you think the sports books know? Like, you know what I mean? Don't they know?
They
If it's that easy, when we all no. Like, it's just like, I don't mind the top 30 or make the cut, but I'm telling you, if Tiger Woods wins this golf tournament, I'll be Lou's butler. I'll fly to New York and I'll be the butler. Anyway, he owns a company. I don't know if he needs me as a butler. He's probably got, guys clean up the house. Anyway, that was a bad example.
Right.
Maybe I'll become your butler and deal with your kids and problems at home. And Dave, I'll be, take care of the family when you're out in those softball tournaments in Utah. If this guy wins the tournament, I'll literally
just be the Uber driver. That's all I need.
It's actually funny. I got a compliment on my driving the other day because I live in like the worst. Like, these guys in my area are driving it up on curbs. There was a story. A guy went through a guy's house the other day, just like the worst drivers in Toronto. Like, these guys are stooges. But anyway, I would take him to make the cut, yes, and a top 30 bet, maybe. But Scott, I got other guys. Let's get to Frank Font here. He knows what's going on. Colin Morikawa.
Yeah,
this is a guy that I really, really like. First, Ludwig Aberg. What kind of player has won events? He played in a Ryder Cup before like anybody. This guy is the best college golfer to come out of Texas Tech, and he's taken the PGA Tour by storm. I'd bet him at 15. We're getting 20. Morikawa, 22. Second and sixth at this tournament the last couple of years without even putting great. If this guy has an average putting week, he could win. I'd also recommend a top 20. It's minus 135 or a top 10 to plus money. All these guys. Adam Scott, wily veteran. He knows the course. You know me, Scott. I told you about a couple guys. Eric Cole. I'm addicted now. You know when you're all in with like a team or whatever, and like if they win and you're not on them, you're done? That's me and Eric Cole. That's our relationship.
Yep.
So he's always top 10 and 20. One of these days, I'm going to clip him at like 70 or 80-1 to win. Will Zalatoris is a very interesting player. He's coming off a year where he missed all the golf with surgery. He looks like he's getting better every week. 50-1 is a steal. And my boy, a Canadian won last week, Nick the Dentist Taylor. Now, how about a nice Svensson dinner with Salisbury steak, mashed potatoes, and a horrible fruit item from the good people of Svensson? Yeah, Swanson. Anyway, that was a horrible joke. Svensson, 150-1. Next, Gary, what do you got for me? We got top 10s, we got top 20s, we got everything at Cam's Discount Warehouse. We got Rory McIlroy. This guy, I'm telling you, he could play with his D game and be top 10. I don't like his odds at 8-1 to win, but I'll take him at plus 110 for a top 10 finish. Max Homa, defending champion, plus 175. Patrick Cantlay loves California golf. Would not be shocked if he won. I can't bet everybody. Plus 175. And A. Berg for a top 10, plus 180. Sign me up. Top 20s. We got my boy. Gabe used to say, this guy's so thin, what does he eat? Oxygen and celery? Now, yeah, Will Zalatoris, once he puts on a couple pounds, this guy murders the ball, too. He's a string bean, but he hits it. Top 20 plus 160, guys. Love it. And top 30, Scott, this is for the old guys, me, you, and Dave. We still got it. We still go. Yeah, I forgot about Mr. Burns at plus 230, but Matt Kuchar. Watch out for the wily veteran this week for a top 30 at plus 140. This is not a long course. And you know what Matt Kuchar loves more than life? Money. And he will collect a paycheck this week. He loves it. Just top 30, another paycheck. I told you, I snuck up on him on the Canadian Open. He had a money clip the size of my head. I've never seen so much money in a golf bag. You went, ooh, ooh. He got scared like I was trying to rob him. Yeah, give me your Titleist. Give me that wad. Anyway, and Svensson, my Canadian friend, plus 130. Canadians are playing really, really well this week. A lot of guys like Corey Connors. I do too, but I like Svensson, plus 130 for a top 30. There you go, fellas. Minnesota Wild in hockey tonight, too, in the late game. Hit the over with Florida in the Pittsburgh game. I'm not going to get there with the Jets game, but if the Jets win by 2, it's going to be a very, very good night. What's Minnesota live right now? Is that still scoreless? What score do we got here, guys? Yeah, scoreless. Give me Minnesota at minus 104.
Yes.
And I will actually take a shot. You know what? Sprinkle on the over at plus 105 for less. I don't really love it, but I prefer Minnesota. Pick them versus Arizona.
Clippers
tonight,
or Golden State in a late game. Hasn't tipped yet.
I was going to ask you. I'm having a real hard time. I was thinking about Golden State tonight.
Same. I like Golden State.
That was my vibe.
I like the over. I love
Golden
Steph
State's
Curry tonight.
Me
How
too,
about
Scott.
Curry, 28.5 points?
Okay.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing, too, guys? Like, this is betting stuff. We kind of overthink everything. Like, I'm not sure about the final score now because I just put the hockey game on to check my bets, but the Raptors lose by like 30, 40 points to San Antonio, and then they play Indiana. And that is you want to talk about a no-brain attack bet? When a team gets embarrassed on their home floor, I will blindly bet them the next game against anybody. In hockey, you get like 6-1. They show, Dave, look at the Sabres. They lost to the Blues. They beat the Kings 7-0. Me and Wetzel were doing the show. Like, that's the third best result for the Buffalo Sabres in the history of their franchise. 7-0. Me and Wetzel, our heads were spinning last night. We thought it was a typo. Craziness.
Yeah. Those spots don't always exist, but when they do, you gotta kind of push all in. You do.
You know how much money was on the Kings after their 4-0 victory with the new coach too, Dave? It's that Sabre money. You know the guy in the room with the cigar and cognac. Like, we got him tonight. Like, hey, everybody was on the Kings for sure. Mm-hmm. Love you guys. Good luck with your picks.
7-0. Yikes.
Yep, 7-0.
Cam Stewart, top of the hour. Keep it where it is. David, that will close the show.
Later, guys.
Another reason why they wanted the deadline is the number is 7. Those are the tradable first-round picks the New York Knicks have. And that could be something to look out for in the future. Does New York back it up and throw a ton of picks to a team like Dallas? Maybe in the future, they get Luka Doncic.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Over $200 million in the state of New York in sports betting, half of that going to the state. All thumbs up, I guess, across the board here, right?
Yeah, New York just continues to be the standard bearer for the industry. People are betting a ton on NFL. We've still got March Madness coming up. This is really the prime time for the U.S. sports calendar with the NFL playoffs, Super Bowl, and then, college basketball, NBA, NHL in full swing.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
What are you thinking overall, kind of first reaction here? Patrick Mahomes, his legacy.
I don't know how far his drive is. Is his drive to become known as the greatest quarterback of all time? I don't think matching Super Bowls will really do that. I think there'll always be, the Brady people will always say, listen, it's a different era.
Football Full Circle, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
Well, look at the Heisman Trophy.
The early line.
And what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell,
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
I
decisions.
have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was good
Late
betting.
Night.
We waited for the 1.5. We got paid.
We
for
did.
patient, didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. In-game live, prime time. Wrapping up shop here again. Cam Stewart, thanks to him for joining us. He'll be joined by Gabe Morency, top of the hour. They'll take you over the next three, TV and radio-wise. Dave and I will leave you. So just one last check of the scoreboard here, Dave. We got the Cadavers up 3, 106-103 over Chicago. With 11 seconds left, but it is Bulls ball. But we have the Bulls Cleveland to hold. Rockets making a little bit of a comeback here, down only 3 now. So maybe they got their butts kicked at halftime here, laying 2, or they still get 2.5, believe it or not, and any kind of hunch on the Detroit Pistons down 17 against the Phoenix Suns. So this might not be a Detroit night after all. So and my double dip, I got DePaul down 23. With 2.5 minutes left, and they only have 24 points. We may have to sweat that one out. So much for 2 free bets.
You're going to be the only person on the train ride home watching the Connecticut, the DePaul game on the score. There's nobody even checking the score on that thing, even for the total. But, listen, it's great to see you. I missed you while I was holding it down out here in Vegas. I'm glad you're okay. I'm sorry to hear about that fifth grader that you had to eject from the game. And listen, go into work tomorrow. Just do the game. Don't worry about the coach.
Do the game.
Just do the game and get in there, tie the shoes, put the lanyard around, call the fouls, and go home. Don't worry about nothing. Because when they see you come in, they're going to be like, this guy again? This guy again? Yeah. You know what they're going to be saying.
The guy.
That's the guy.
I know it. That's the guy. No double socks, right? No double socks. Go single socks, thin socks, good sneakers. Thin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do some stretching
it's
before
hard for
you get
my
out
brain
there.
to grasp that. I need cushion, I would think. All right.
I wore the thinnest socks ever when I played hockey. Thin.
Really? Wow. All right, folks.
See you, boys.
Sam and Dave come up next.